paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason. Alright, so what's you guys' favorite speedrun? Like, category? Could be video games or... Well, I guess video games, but like, what's your favorite speedrun category?
You've opened this up already.
Too, I guess, like the 100-meter dash is technically a speedrun, but like, whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you've opened this up immediately to many options here.
I do think Super Mario 64 70 star is like the platonic ideal.
I would agree that Super Mario 64 is the thing. It was so accessible, and a good time amount, all of those things that make it kind of perfect for speedrunning.
Is that the one where the physics like the neutron whatever like let somebody, or like the
solar particle hit the machine and that is the one where solar particle rays are a part of the speedrun in one of the categories.
Also, you can go to parallel universes in Mario 64.
Well, I have a contender. Okay. I'm gonna read this article from Dexerto.
Dexerto. Go ahead.
There's no. That's not how you spell it though. It's Dexerto.
Dexerto.
It's Dexerto.
I don't know. They've employed people who I thought were bad people. I'm off of that.
From Big Dex.
Anyway, TikTokers in Los Angeles are going viral for a new bizarre trend where they run into Scientology buildings to see how far they can get before being thrown out.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of these, actually.
Often filmed in Hollywood, show creators rushing through the front doors, sprinting down hallways, sometimes using skateboards to push deeper into the building. The goal was simple: make it as far inside as possible. The challenge has quickly been dubbed the Scientology Run, with users trying to one-up each other after one viral clip claimed to show the deepest recorded run.
This is amazing.
Getting upstairs has to be... Has anyone gotten upstairs yet?
I don't think so. As of
metaphorically or like
metaphorically.
No, like the building is like a tower.
You got to go downstairs.
Been to the volcano.
Towers are tricks. That's part of. You don't go up. That's what you got to go down. They built that tower to make you think you got to go up, but you got to go down.
Quote Corbin
so the speedrun's broken into two categories: find the alien upstairs or find Shelly downstairs.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing. It's like Area 51 strategy, though. They can't stop us all. Have we tried a coordinated, like a DDoS of the Scientology building?
So, like, if we were truly living in the most dystopian future, which we are, we could put
dedicated denial of Scientology.
We could put a polymarket bet out for when someone is going to die doing this.
Ooh, you could. You could also start taking bets on how...
They wouldn't die. They would get disappeared.
You start taking bets on what date different levels will be breached.
This is our fucking golden ticket, guys.
I have speedrun Mirror's Edge, so I think I have a shot.
What if we, like, Mission Impossible, like, come down on a helicopter, like, cut a window out, get in? Does that count? Is that a sequence break?
I saw that scene in Now You See Me where they throw the cards around to sneak in.
Yeah.
It could be like that, too. You could go a different way. You could try to be the janitor crew to try to get in further, right? You could really go next level.
The cards that you throw around are from the Revelations Bible card game?
Correct.
Because that's the most distracting.
Have y'all seen Mission Impossible 4, I think? The one where Tom Cruise scales the Burj Khalifa?
Not yet, no.
I think that's what the
I'm watching him with Ben.
They're so fun when you realize that, like, he just did all those stunts because he's trying to die to get away from Scientology. Because he can't kill himself. But if he dies doing a stunt, that's allowed. Xena will let him into Xenu Paradise or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. The only things I know about Scientology are from that South Park episode, which, from what I understand, are in fact 100% accurate. So
pretty comprehensive,
I guess I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's why that episode's amazing, because South Park correctly recognized you can't parody certain things, and that presenting it straight was somehow way funnier. Because isn't. It's like Trump. You can't parody Trump, you know?
It's basically what they did with the cock magic episode 2. They just showed what magic was really like.
I think I could get pretty deep into Scientology, and you can quote me on that. You can clip that, use it out of context as much as you want.
I think I could get pretty deep into Scientology.
Can we get like a Patreon sub goal to send DJ to Hollywood to do this?
Scientology school. How do you go to Scientology school?
I think you just run really far into the building and find the classroom.
How do you learn about How do you become a Scientologist?
You go to the building and you say, I'd like to sign up for Scientology. My net worth is over this much. You may have 60% of it. Will Xenu let me into paradise now?
What if you just... what if you get to level 3, though? Like, if you sneak onto level 3, does Xenu know that you haven't paid your toll? Or
Probably.
Is it like anyone who crosses...
God, dude.
Anyone who crosses this threshold...
Well, he's an alien.
Yeah, come on, man.
Aliens can be gods, right?
Well, I actually don't know if he's explicitly considered to be a god or just the most powerful being in the universe.
Okay, Star Trek 4 DJ over here.
How dare you?
That was a quality
Speaking
reference.
of Star Trek
That was
and
a
deep
quality
cuts,
reference. Or is that Star Trek 5?
I think that was 5. I could be wrong, though. I watched First Contact for the first time in like
4.
15 years recently.
It's amazing, right?
It's pretty bad, but like it's a delight, to be clear. Did you know that Adam Scott was in that movie? He was like a young guy. It was like one of his first acting roles. He was a guy working the con on the bridge, and he dies almost immediately.
It's 5. You're right. 4 is the Wales one.
I knew it was 5. God. I'm so excited for Star Trek spoiler season. I'm going to be insufferable. I'm watching Voyager right now just to be complete. I don't even like Voyager that much.
It's okay. It's all right.
Some of the characters are very likable. I like Tuvok. He's great. Chakotay, pretty cool. Janeway, growing on me.
It's not quite the TNG levels, but they do keep the Star Trek vibe of incredibly inappropriate harassment of alien females alive and well. It's like somehow the most direct and clear violation of the Prime Directive, and it's the one they can't stop doing, is violating every female race they come across. It's insane.
The one thing
even
I will
in that
say,
show,
you know the meme where it's like, you know, oh, you're so sweet, or like, oh, call HR. You know that meme?
Yeah.
The top one is Will Riker, because all the female aliens kind of liked Will Riker. Tom Paris, though, they're just like, yo, get this guy out of here. He doesn't have it. Will Riker was loquacious and charming and sexy after he got the beard. Tom Paris is just like, what if... Tom Paris looks like every guy at the bar who asks you to join his polycule.
I also found out that Tom Paris is a spin-off character from a previous Star Trek show. Did you know this? Where he was a villain. Listen, this is the Reddit post. I'm doing a rewatch of TNG, and I got to the season 5 episode, The First Duty. The one thing that always puzzled me is why they didn't just use Nicholas Locarno, the character played by Robert Duncan McNeil, as Tom Paris. They have identical backstories. They were Starfleet officers who were disgraced due to a mistake. They're played by the same actor. Look,
I did know about
listen,
this.
the top thing is Locarno was created by the writer who wrote that episode. Using it would have meant paying that writer for the whole run of Voyager. By changing the name, they got everything for free. Now, I don't know if that's... this comment says, I don't know if that's true. That's what I've heard. But that's what I'm talking about. This is why I saw this going around the internet.
I didn't know it was that episode, though. That's so funny that it's the same backstory.
Yeah. It's the same backstory and the same actor. So, like, clearly they... You know... But for whatever reason, it's not, you know... a direct spin-off or whatever. But if that may be the reason or not, if it's a direct, but anyway, it's
Today I learned.
Yeah,
dude, Corbin teaching me Star Trek stuff. Anything can happen.
If you were to try to do a speed run in Magic, what would be a good speed run?
People did arena cube draft speed runs.
I would go for Reddit downvotes.
I love the reserved list. Why the reserved list is good for Magic.
Yeah.
Please keep the reserved list.
I think I would do good in that category.
I will
sue Wizards.
Beyond cards to the reserve list.
I will sue Wizards if they reprint Underground Sea.
I am the one who promissory estoppels.
Yes, that's you could PSA. I am the person who will sue Wizards if they reprint the reserve list.
No, set up a legal defense fund for your Magic collection on like on a GoFundMe. It's like my legal defense fund to sue Wizards of the Coast if they reprint the reserve list.
Not GoFundMe though. I'd have to use the right wing grifter one just to really
Sure.
up the.
Oh yeah.
Just to up the. Oh my gosh, as the kids would say, the cortisol levels of your downvote scheme here.
I've recently learned.
Did I do it right?
You did. I've recently learned that some of the Magic decks that I play are high cortisol Magic decks. They're too stressful. Like control decks are too high cortisol. You have to play for too long. It's too stressful. It's aging me. I need to start playing more low cortisol decks.
Well, this is where I can help because I said I got a piece of power recently, and Liz is like, you should play Vintage. And I'm like, well, I have a playset of Bazaars. I'm ready to play Vintage. And then she said you should not play Vintage anymore. But have you considered that while you're opening your mind up to new Magic decks, you could learn to love Bazaar of Baghdad and go Grave Troll?
So the last Vintage tournament I played, I lost to Dredge. On I had to do this 15 card sequence with Oath of Druids milling half my deck and Underworld Breach to put an Atraxa into play and Time Walk to gain enough life so that I could Brain Freeze mill them and not die to their Creeping Chills. And I did my sequence wrong and I lost. My opponent was just like, I activate Bazaar. To be clear, he played very well. That's not denigrating my opponent at all. It was more that I'm the jackass here.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the old adage of playing Burn in Modern or Legacy. It's everyone else is stressing out. You're first in line at the concession stand 20 minutes into the round. You get the bathroom to yourself. It's ideal life management to play an aggro deck.
I played an aggro deck at the last Riftbound event that I was in. One of my matches ended in 12 minutes, and rounds go an hour and a half in Riftbound. So I just went outside the convention center, walked 3 blocks, got Chipotle, walked 3 blocks back, came back, and I still had 30 minutes to chat with my friends. It was great.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you could just really up it there.
Low cortisol. That's the plan.
I think Dredge is fun. I'll be honest, the very little amount of Vintage I've played, I did mostly enjoy playing shops. I don't know if that's frowned upon or not.
No, I mean, none of it's frowned upon. Vintage is the place to do things, right?
Well, welcome into Brainstorm Brewery,
though?
everybody.
Is Luris frowned upon?
Initiative should be frowned upon.
I don't know. I think Vintage is somehow... It's like the Mr. Burns thing, where it's he has all diseases so none of them can hurt him. Vintage is really balanced. I think it's really fun. All the decks are cool. There are aggro decks, there are control decks, there are combo decks, there are mid-range decks.
That's also kind of standard.
Yeah. I think
That
standard
analogy
and vintage
works.
are in pretty good spots.
Yeah, that analogy works for standard because there's a lot of really messed up stuff going on in standard, and you can do any of it, and it's all pretty fun. I was actually going deep on standard last night. Recent 5-0 league winners, and obviously this is is league winners, right? The format is what the format is, right? But red-white tokens with Raphael pinging people with Oger the God, that 5-0'd. United Battlefront Simulacrum Synthesizer deck, 5-0'd. And then obviously you've got 5 different decks that are tier 1-ish. Kind of a sweet format, all in all, but it is broken. I've been playing a lot of it with friends, and you do die on mono green does kill you on turn 4. But the cool part of it is I'm playing a homebrew in these games, and in the next game I turn 4 them with a Bahamut. You could do lots of stuff, and I'm playing straight up homebrew, and I'm hanging in there against mono green because you can do many things in the format. It's kind of gotten to that place, which is kind of just flowing, sliding under the radar right now. And we've got the Pro Tour here in 3 weeks or so, 2 weeks by the time you listen to this podcast. That'll, maybe shake things up a bit more. But overall, it's been a really fun year of standard so far, and we're 4 months in.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see the PT happen. I think Magic slipped too far into lol, just play the best deck. And it was really weird where we'd see like the format be really stagnant and the PT would happen and the best players would do the work and they would break formats. And it would go back to the Moto grinders just being like, lol, play the best deck. And it's because that's what the incentives are, right? And I think PTs are really exciting again because of that. Like the last PT, we had 3 or 4 new breakout decks, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Secrets of Strixhaven has some real breakable cards in it.
Yeah, you can go, and I've gone deep into this subject before, and I'm not going to rehash the entire thing here now, but in a way, I think the learning ecosystem of Magic has been lost over the years because there's not the same clear pipeline that there used to be. You go to these 3 websites, read from these 15 authors, you'll get better. Other people are trying to break into that. The quality's high, et cetera, et cetera. And now, not to denigrate anybody or anyone's work or anything, but you don't know when you buy a Patreon guide or whatever, if you're just getting a quick sideboard list thrown together because someone won an event, and no one's writing theory, no one's getting paid to write theory articles to teach you about how to brew or deck build or anything like that. These days, almost the most you get is like Matt Nass after the Pro Tour going, here's 10 ideas for standard combos I wanted to explore but didn't. That would be 10 weeks of articles before, and maybe one of those decks becomes a thing, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what has been internalized, and no one's wrong to have done it, is people say, just play the best deck. You're fooling yourself if you're going to break the format. Just play the best deck. So people play the best deck, and you get RC fields that are massive amounts of one deck. And sure, the format's bad, and the deck's too good, and all these different things, but at some point, it is also just true that people are just playing the best deck because that's what they've been told to do, and there's not enough people out there actually grinding to find the new best deck. And that's why when, to your point, when we get to the Pro Tour and you have 50 of the world's best players, there's new decks to find, it feels like, because at least since the last summer, right? Because there's so many cards in the format, and because so few people are actually incentivized to innovate on it at such a high level.
Yeah, I mean, competitive Magic is really good right now. And I don't even like half the formats personally, and I still think it's pretty good. Like, Modern doesn't do it for me, but Modern looks like it's in a mostly fine spot, and I'm excited to see how it develops as people actually put the effort into beat Energy and Amulet and stuff instead of just playing it.
It'll be even better once every Wizards employee listens to last week's episode and unbans every card we mentioned. Not just the ones that we agreed should be unbanned, just unban it all.
It does feel like, and maybe this is too optimistic, maybe in a month we're going to be right back to where we were, saying 3 things need to be banned or whatever. But there is a way to look at this where we say last year was pretty bad as they adjusted the 3-year standard. And, sort of the impact of the lasting damage of direct to modern sets. And maybe they're kind of getting a handle on things as far as competitive play goes. Like the current round of RC promos is good, I believe, or RCQ promos, whichever it was, people were happy about. Yep. They've got, standard looks okay, modern looks okay. Pioneer, I think, is actually pretty fun. People don't necessarily, there's not really a lot of reason to play it right now, but maybe we're entering into a period where they're kind of getting a handle on the pipeline of Magic sets from the absolute hose that was the last couple years. Because while 7 sets a year this year is a ton, obviously, that's what everyone sort of focuses on. These other years had plenty of sets too, where you'd have Modern Horizons dropped in, or all these things. At least now everything's going through the same pipeline of the same people, of the same design team, and you hopefully won't have insane outliers like Modern Horizons 3, where one person at the last second is responsible for changing a card in the file that breaks the entire format because we have a different team and process for that than we do everything else. I don't know.
It's really weird where, like, I actually think MH3 had it was like 95% very cool designs. And then 5% of the cards are just, like, way beyond the realm of acceptable. And that's tough, but I think everything being through Standard is probably just better, because they've proven they can design modern cards through Standard. They've proven they can design legacy cards through Standard.
Yeah, and while we can then talk about, the different conversation of power creep or whatever, and people do talk about how powerful standard is, I don't think that it's necessarily better having direct to modern sets that because they are direct to modern, they're not making cards that might become modern playable. They are making cards to be modern playable, and that's why you have just such egregious outliers, because something has to be modern playable out of Modern Horizons 3, or what's the point of the set? And really, I think Modern Horizons 3 suffered from, it had no reason for existing. Like Modern Horizons 1 had some very, very clear goals. We want to put the possibility for these archetypes into the format, and we want to create some tools for interactive gameplay that did not exist in the format previously, because people talk about this ships passing in the night thing, etc. And we want to kind of seed these cards that we want into our new Eternal format. And then Modern Horizons 2 was, okay, how do we up the interactivity levels, blah, 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 blah. And that's how you end up with elementals. And while that went too far, the goals the set were trying to exist were kind of clear. Modern Horizons 3 came along, and I think maybe the overarching goal was juice archetypes that previously didn't have it. But then you're not really solving a problem in the format. You're just designing new powerful cards to shake things up, and you end up with the problems we had.
Right. I think actually one of the biggest things for me that was a success about MH3 was...
Yeah.
And I think all the Modern Horizon sets had this, was that MH3 had a bunch of like one-off cards that were very clearly for decks that already existed, and all it did was juice them. And I think those were cool. The things where it's like, here's 11 cards for a new archetype, those ones are tougher.
Exactly.
I also think from a design perspective, it's way harder to build a whole new energy deck and put it in your set. You're more likely to miss if you do that, right? And they missed on energy, I think. I think it missed a little too high on a couple of cards. And I think it's really, really tough to, like... I think Psychic Frog is a perfect modern card. It goes in a Murktide deck. Like, that card to me is a success, right? The whole energy
100%.
package is just like... Guide of Souls would have been a cool card if some amount of the other stuff didn't exist. Like, Ocelot probably would have been a cool card if... the token package wasn't quite as strong as it was. But when you add that many new elements at once, it's hard to actually pull down all the bull crap and see where you're going to land until it gets into the wild.
I was really surprised they went even harder on energy, considering how it went in Kaladesh.
Well, that was the point. That's why they did it. That's why this was, like, Modern Horizons 3 was like, it felt like a challenge. Like, we're going to not just seed cards for decks and archetypes like the previous ones had done. We're going to do that, but we're also we can make energy be okay now. Watch us design a whole energy deck. And it's like, no one asked for this, Like, that's kind of lots of people asked for, can I get a new card for my fish deck? Can I get a new card for my Murktide? Like, whatever. When Psychic Frog gives you lots of options to build around it. It's one card. No one asked for an entire energy deck to get dropped into the format, much less one that's so powerful that it then... becomes the new best deck, outside of obviously Nadu as another outlier. But there was a time where obviously energy got cards banned because it was just sort of like the whole deck just dropped in MH3 and that was just it.
I do like that straight to Eternal sets can exist. I like the idea of it because, and oh my god, I know I'm going to get people in the Menchies saying things like, but it enables Oopsal spells, it enables Belcher, but like I do think it's cool that the MDFCs exist. For the most part.
I agree.
And those can't ever go into a standard set. They just cannot. Not the Modern Horizons power level ones. But it's cool that they can exist.
Did you guys know that Malakir Rebirth is a $15 card?
I did.
Yeah.
And Valakut Awakening is a $16 card, almost 15, 16 in that range as well.
Yeah,
obviously that one's I know. I say one of them's a rare, but it's... When that set came out, I think we just were like, well, these cards just have to be worth money forever, right? Because of what they do. And yes, the answer was yes, that the most playable ones from the pandemic release set are now worth infinite money.
Yep. I think it's really telling that Jwari Disruption and Sink into Stupor both exist and both see play in the same modern deck. Like, the line is pretty fine. Like, Sink into Stupor would be not okay for standard. But Jwari Disruption is barely okay for modern. Barely good enough.
The power level...
Seagate Restoration is a $30 card with one printing, and I don't know if anyone has ever cast the front side of Seagate Restoration before.
Oh no, it happens in Commander.
Probably like Ali Antrazi. That feels like a thing he would do.
Yeah. I think I've seen it in Modern ? I think I've seen it happen once in Modern in a tournament I was commentating. Sure. But yes, quite rare. Zendikar Rising, by the way. Zendikar Rising, banger set.
Yeah.
Just saying, it's got all of the
era.
Yeah, like I said, it was a pandemic set, and it was a retread of Zendikar, which again wasn't necessarily bad, but yeah, it's got all the DFCs are obviously the most expensive things. It didn't do anything
exciting for Zendikar.
No, it didn't. But it got a really number of good reprints as well. Yeah, exactly. I thought it was really fun to draft. I don't know if anyone.
Party was a weird mechanic. That was a thing.
Yeah, I thought it was fun to draft because the party stuff all played really well together.
Yeah. I actually think one of my favorite things come out of Zendikar Rising was the Rogues deck in Standard.
Yep, that was a great time period.
Yeah. The Thieves Guild Enforcer, I think, was the core set one before that was like a plant for it. That was awesome. That card ruled.
Yeah. And Soaring Thought Thief.
I played Ghostly Pilfer in Commander.
And what was the one where you could draw in that deck? Gosh, you're right. That deck was really fun. I actually have it had it. It's in a box somewhere. I had it built for Pioneer. the beginning issue. I guess around the time that it was making the waves in Standard, I saw it top 8 a Pioneer event and built it, and then no one ever played Pioneer again. But
man, I love being nostalgic about old decks for Magic. We were talking this morning in one of my Discords about what's that?
Old Standard decks in particular, right? And it's not as fun when what you remember is mid-range Grixis mid-range soup as the best deck. It's cool when you remember Dimir Rogues, you know? Right.
Well, it's actually funny you mentioned that because we were getting nostalgic in one of my Discords this morning about 2012 era Esper Stoneblade Legacy Mirrors. And to be clear, it was Jarvis Yu getting nostalgic for it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like Lingering Souls,
that was a time
Legacy
period.
Was strong.
I remember that time period of Legacy. It's when I got really into Legacy, or was getting into Legacy, and it was in fact very fun. And I could play Merfolk then. Everything was great.
It was a simpler time.
I'm telling you, 2016 Modern is the next format to invest in. I don't know if it's a format. It's just the year that makes the most sense in my brain.
Okay, but what about 2009 Extended? Thoughts on that?
That was before my
could I play Doran? I could play Doran. I'm in.
There was a Lodestone.
Can I play Cloud Goat Ranger?
Probably. Probably not, actually. That's probably not good enough.
No, I played the Cloud Goat Ranger Hideaway deck in Extended back then.
Well, that was after Extended became shorter, right? That was like Future Sight Forward? Or Time Spiral Block Forward?
I think so, yeah.
Time Spiral to Scars, I think. That was the format I played Summoning Trap in. Green White Summoning Trap.
Yes, that's the deck I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I played Cloud Goat. I played like Primeval Titan and Iona and Emrakul and Knight of the Reliquary and Lotus Cobra. God, what a deck.
It played Moss. I don't know if I'm thinking about the extended version or but it played Mosswort Bridge and Cloud Goat.
And Windbrisk Kites, too. Because you have Primeval Titan, grab Mosswort Bridge, Hideaway, Emrakul, Iona.
I want to... Windbrisk Kites... Cloud Goat would do Windbrisk Kites. I remember playing in an extended PTQ back then. I mulliganed to 4 against Fairies and then got Thought Seized on turn 1. So I started the game on 3 cards and I just very easily won because I just went like land, hideaway, creature, something, hideaway, some way to trigger the hideaway, and the hideaway was a Cloud Thresher to get all their tokens from Bitter Blossom. And then, like, the Cloud Thresher enabled me to cast something off of the Mosswort, like, after I added something else. You know, like, just some very funny stuff happened. So great memories of that deck. Reminiscing about old Standard decks. Good time.
It's true.
Good times. All right. For the boomers among us, you'll recognize these cards as well, because it's time for some Breaking Bulk.
Breaking Bulk time.
Boomers might not recognize mine because it's Phyrexia All-Be-One and it's a green common.
Green common Phyrexia All-Be-One.
Withstand.
This is the set where Corbin copped out of wearing the Kansas City Chiefs hat in Philly.
I did wear it.
It's not Tyvar Stan, that's an uncommon.
That's what I was thinking of, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there was another good combat trick in that set, though.
Not a combat
It
trick.
could also just be a toxic creature or something.
Not a creature.
Like, give something indestructible, or it counters, draws cards. I don't know. Huh. Phyrexia
Yeah, I got-
one is a... This is a DJ
weird,
thing,
right?
so it's...
I keep thinking of March of the Machine cards, and it's bothering me.
This is a blank with blank mechanic, for sure.
So it's corrupted? Oh,
Ooh,
it's the regrowth.
Nope.
Oh,
Is
it's
it-
not the
is it-
proliferate regrowth? Damn.
It's not a spell bomb. It's like an artifact that sacks itself to do something, I think, right?
Nope.
There's a card I'm thinking of for that? No. I'm stumped.
I'm calling it. It is Thirsting Roots, which is search for a basic or proliferate for 1 mana.
Yep. What's it worth?
Market price is 75 cents. Card Kingdom and Star City will pay you a quarter each on these for the non-foils. It is a card with no reprints. And the reason I know that Star City and Card Kingdom will pay me a quarter each is because I have access to MTG Ban, which is a lovely little data aggregate tool that gives you a whole bunch of information on card prices at your fingertips. You can upload collections to it using the TCG Player Collection Tracker. You can upload spreadsheets, CSVs from Moxfield. You can upload like a deck list from Mana Box, and as long as you have all of the versions right, it'll map all those versions correctly too. So it'll give you all of the buy list and retail prices for all of the cards in your Moxfield deck list or your Mana Box. Or if you have like a notepad file with card name, quantity, set code, it can also parse that. It's very, very good at parsing whatever nonsense data stream you want to give it, because Magic players use 1,000 different systems to catalog and organize their things. So any sort of mess of numbers and words you want to put in there, it will figure out what you are trying to tell it, and it will give you a few very handy buttons to export that entire collection to Card Kingdom or to other buy lists. And it's very, very handy, and I use it almost every day that I work. I used MTG Band for about 3 or 4 years before they sponsored this podcast, and I've saved so much time and money just putting collections into this or using it to buy weird high-end cards that you don't know the data on, like 7th edition foil City of Brass. What do I pay on that? Well, I mean, TCG player data is not the only data point I want to use, so I'll go to MTG Band, see what everyone else is paying, and then go from there. It's very, very nice.
All right, I'm going to go with a recent one as well. And this one has been spiking. It's part of a cycle. It's a colorless card from Streets of New Capenna.
Is it the cycle of, like,
The
not
Fetchland?
panoramas? Yeah, like the not Shards of Alara panoramas,
Yep.
but they're, like, basically
It
panoramas.
is.
Is it the
It is.
Esper one?
Esper. This is Bant. Sorry, Broker's
Oh.
Hideout. That said, let me check out the Obscura one as well, because I would not be surprised if it as well was worth. Obscura Storefront. It's a little lower than the other, but here's the thing: all of them have actually climbed a little bit off of the bulk ground, like true bulk ground. Card Kingdom will pay 30 cents for Broker's Hideout. These have been making the rounds in any format where they can trigger landfall. And in addition to that, they're obviously good budget options, but they just have the one printing in Streets of New Capenna, so there's not a ton of them out there. So despite Mana Fixing being incredibly available and you being able to get flooded groves for 30 cents, you can also buy list a Broker's Hideout for 30 cents. That's the time period of Magic in which we live.
Yeah, that's crazy that there are so many cards where you can buy list the bad version and buy the good version with the amount of money you send.
Yep.
Like, there's so many cards like that nowadays. It's wild.
The filter lands are insane, and kind of based on the time period of when I last got out of running swords in, say, 2019 era, and getting back into it over the past year, the people who have come to sell me collections who sort of played with me back then have fared poorly if you quit around the pandemic, because you have a ton of, I mean, I don't want to, over prescribe here, but filter lands are just the easiest go-to example. I mean, they were $30 and now they're 30 cents. That's insane for people who quit Magic in 2019 with a binder full of shock lands and fetch lands and filter lands.
Dark Confidants and Ren and Sixes and Bloodbraid Elves and Thoughtseizes and...
Yes. I mean, at least Thoughtseize is still $5.
I have this conversation every time I buy a Snapcaster Mage where I put it in like the $8 to $10 pile and people are like, dang, that card's fallen. No, it hasn't. Snapcaster has aged gracefully and is thriving in his niche little corner of fandom, whatever that might be. But people continue to buy Snapcaster Mages. People are not buying Dark Confidants and Thoughtseizes. Snapcaster still continues to sell, even if it's not as competitively viable as it used to be.
Snapcaster's a good, a playable commander card. Thoughtseize, I did actually have somebody trying to buy a Thoughtseize for commander the other day, but all in all, not a great commander card.
True.
All right, Liz, what are you looking at?
I have a Modern Horizons 3 Gold Uncommon.
I don't like this set, so I don't know.
Y'all are chumps. This game's too easy.
I'm terrible at these Horizon sets.
I can give you an alternate if you want to have a chance of winning.
That'll make it more embarrassing when we lose.
We can 2-for-1 it this week, Corbin. I also have an AFR Red Rare.
Red Terror.
It is Wish. DJ got it. Corbin didn't. Corbin can still be embarrassed. All right, back to the MH3 Gold Uncommon.
Is it a hybrid MDFC?
Yes.
The blue-white one.
No.
The blue-black Mystical Tutor.
It is that one. DJ got it. Corbin can be embarrassed.
Oh, waterlog.
2-0.
It's waterlog teachings.
Yes.
I'll help DJ get there all the way. How about that?
Fair enough. Before you look it up, what's the name of the back of it, Corbin? Come on, coverage
Mystical
boy.
Waterlogs.
It's Inundated Archive.
Okay.
Card is like multiple 50-cent buy lists. The gold ones were pretty cheap for a while at the beginning of MH3. This is actually one of the ones that I still had in my MH3 bulk from when I cracked boxes of the set.
Yeah. I bought one of these the other day.
You just need enough blue MDFCs and Belcher, and this one makes the cut because it finds, in a roundabout way, it finds your Belcher because it finds Word Invention, which then searches for Belcher.
And I don't want to be too reductionist about this cycle and its ubiquitousness, but this should be in every commander deck almost that is vaguely blue-black spell-based, and that's just kind of true of all of these cards, is that you can just replace lands with them if you want and up the power level of your deck, but what you should really do is replace like your 3 worst non-land cards with these, and you've really upped the power level of your deck.
The opportunity cost on them is just so low in Commander.
Like, that's the whole reason. Like, it literally breaks the entire resource system of Magic, and Magic designers know this. Like, that is inherently why they are so powerful, and people, especially newer or Commander players, don't necessarily see it because it's invisible. But my advice to almost anyone talking about land counts in their Commander deck is like, cut your 3 worst cards, add MDFCs into that spot. Your deck will improve dramatically.
Yeah.
The skill check there, Corbin, is people knowing what their 3 worst cards are.
Fair. The 3 cards you hate the most when you cast them. But yeah, anyways, Waterlog Teachings is a great one.
On that note, DJ, one of my favorite stream moments ever was Darkest Mage was streaming and had like, if you subscribe, I'll look at your deck and tell you what's wrong with it kind of thing. And someone sent in like a modern blue-white Delver deck with Leonin Arbiter and like Vapor Snag, and a bunch of cheap spells. And there were 3 Snapcaster mages. And Darkest Mage just goes on this like 10-minute rant being like, if you just take all of your non-Snapcaster mage cards, shuffle them up, and remove remove 1 at random, and add the 4th Snapcaster mage, you would be improving your deck. So just do that. And for most commander decks, you can just shuffle up all of your cards, remove 3 at random, and add 3 lands, and your deck is probably better, and that's fine. That's fine. Like, very few cards in a commander deck are so important that the deck doesn't function without them.
I built the red-black Hidetsugu from Dian Dynasty a few months ago, and one of my favorite moments with that deck is the fact that all of the MDFCs count as spells for the top card of your deck has mana value nonsense, and the red-black one costs 7. So anytime I flip Protection Racket or Keen Duelist or Hidetsugu, somebody is taking 7 damage for me to just play my land for turn and go. Like, oh, we both flipped lands with Parker Luck. That's interesting, but you take 7 and I take 0. Land go.
That's a fun deck, DJ. I like that.
Yeah, that is really cool.
The Rakdos decks, by the way, in Commander, are really the kind of decks that benefit the absolute most from these things, because they were the ones I have a couple of them myself. Any deck, obviously, without green struggles more. White actually does a pretty decent job of getting you lands and stuff to play. Like, red-black can sometimes just really bog down. And so, like, those are the decks that really benefit from having a couple of those cards in them.
Yeah, I was actually right before this cast, I was updating my black-white commander deck, and I was going real hard in the tank with the if your opponent has more lands than you package, Deep Dome, Tarotmancer, Archaeomancer's Map, and Land Tax. And I was thinking, am I supposed to play Lotus Field? Because now I will have fewer lands than my opponent, and now it will ensure that all of my things are turned on. And then I go further down the rabbit hole with that of like, well, now should I just like Thespian Sage to copy my Lotus Field? Like, there's a... Where does the rabbit hole end?
I used to play with a guy who had a mono white Elspeth deck, and he always had the Weathered Wayfarer thing going on.
Yep.
And he would always get an extra planar lens out, because that would give him 1 less land, because he would have to put 1 underneath it. So he could always do his Weathered Wayfarer. But like, that was a consideration he made. So because of Weathered Wayfarer, like a knock-on effect of playing that package in his deck. That's fun commander design.
There's a guy at my LGS who exclusively builds mono white decks, and I love it.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't get the bit until like the 3rd game I played against him, and I just, is that a different mono white deck? I love this. They're all interesting enough to be different. One of them is like the Final Fantasy guy who gets +1/+1 when you cycle cards or something like that, and like,
if he has mono white Cloud, you'll like it a lot less.
True.
That deck makes me rage. I played against mono white Cloud the other night. I was playing a blue-red deck. I had 3 basics in play, and he had 9 planes in play. And that's every single game with that stupid Cloud deck. Not that I'm salty about Midgard Mercenary Cloud or anything. Not that they always get... They don't get Sword of Hearth and Home or Sword of the Animist on turn 2 every single game and get infinite triggers from it immediately. And anyway, let's talk about Magic.
You might be upset.
No, it's no Skull Storm, that's for sure.
Corbin, you can at least mock them for not having the $15,000-$20,000 Pro Tour Cloud foil.
That is true.
I'll get on that.
Get your money up.
I will get on that.
All right, gang. Let's talk about something here. Let's say I want to build a commander deck. Let's say me, Liz, wants to build a commander deck for no reason. I would never play it. I would never play commander. But like, what if I did? What am I building?
I would lean towards Karuga the Macro Sage as a companion. Maybe.
Okay.
Or no, Karuga as a... No, hang on. Karuga as the commander, not the companion. So you don't have the companion restriction, but you can play up the Beanstalk.
Whew!
And then Karuga draws cards. Karuga, every time you flicker it, like every time you ghostly flicker or whatever, we'll draw cards because you have all of the beanstalk permanents in play.
What?
You have
like
wastefulness and all that.
I think you'd like my Sultai lands deck. I play Archelos. Archelos, the turtle. Where if the turtle is untapped, everything comes into play untapped. And if the turtle is tapped, everything comes into play tapped. And my usual lines involve like Urza Sogging for Amulet of Vigor. And then just plain Titan type lines. so
I'm going to riff...
Lots of Field of the Dead. Merit Lages involved.
I'm going to riff on both of these and say that I'm supposed to play Helga Skittish Seer with Karuga Companion.
There you go.
Yeah.
Helga's fun.
Up the beanstalk in the command zone. There we go.
That's great.
Shit, I might build
Helga,
that.
by the way, Helga, by the way, a $3 mythic from Bloomborough breaking bulk here.
Yeah. That card's sick. That card saw Modern play for like 1 minute there.
Yeah, so it's currently Modern RC season, or RCQ season, right? Which leads into RC season after this PT. So this PT will be standard. We'll get lots of that updates with the latest set, et cetera, et cetera. But after that, we're about to see Modern highlighted for the first time in a while, right?
Yeah. It's really weird to think about. Like, we've been in standard for so long. It's been like 2 consecutive RCQ seasons plus back-to-back PTs, right?
Yes.
Like, how do we...
This is part of their plan to revitalize standard was why are we pulling attention away to a bunch of other formats? We want people to play standard. Let's show them standard. Half the people playing Magic today have never seen a Magic tournament on stream. Let's show them standard.
Right.
So, yes.
But, like, that means that people just kind of don't know the vibe of Modern other than Magic Online?
Yeah. Not since the PT.
Which,
and to be fair, not much has changed, but...
The last
Benedello...
PT, yeah.
Benedello Plumber won with Belcher.
Yeah. Like 4 sets since then? 5 sets since then? Pretty exciting.
Yeah, that was Edge of Eternity. That was Edge of Eternities.
It's going to be really cool to see how things develop. I don't know. Like, the Pro Tour is such a special thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
It'll
be good.
Modern's
fun.
Archives.
There you go. All right. Well, yeah. So next up, we are coming up on Strixhaven pre-release. It is this weekend. We've talked a lot about the cards. I can tell you that financially, and to do my little Jason hat on here, everyone's playing Silver Quill. They're building the Killian deck. All the auras in the world are going up in
I
price.
picked Retether on this podcast 12 plus years ago. So if you weren't born yet, that's your fault.
That's true. If you weren't, Jesus.
God.
He's right, by the way. Retether is exploding. Everything that mentions the word aura on it is exploding in price. The set hasn't come out yet. You probably have exactly these days, if you're listening to this cast early, because you're a Patreon on patreon.com/BSB, you're hearing this early. Dig the enchantment cards and the aura cards out of bulk. Pull the ones out of your store that they have underpriced. I probably have some at my store underpriced. Go buy my cards. Anyway,
you need to be aura
that's what's
farming
happening
as soon as possible.
That's so true.
That's the episode
so
name.
True. All right. Well, speaking of aura farming, let's see if any of that shows back up in these picks of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
I really like my pick of the week. I think this is a card that has not seen its true day in the sun in Standard. We'll see play in Modern continuously, is a legacy card even, in some of the most broken combo decks the format has to offer. And also, it's a World Champ card. Formidable Speaker is too cheap, if you ask me. Lorwyn is no longer in the spotlight. Lorwyn has been eclipsed by the upcoming Secrets of Strixhaven.
I see what you did there.
Formidable Speaker is like multiple buy lists are $8 and its retail is like $8 to $10, I feel like this card is too cheap and will. It's been $20 before, right? Lorwyn was not a super heavily printed set, all things considered.
Yeah,
Instrumental
I agree.
speakers. John
It's an
Manuel
elf.
DePra.
It's
a
an
real
elf.
one. It's an elf. Yeah. So good.
All right, I'll give you one in line with the auras. This card hasn't spiked yet. It's going to. Boon of the Spirit Realm from Commander Masters. It's a 5-mana enchantment. Whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a blessing counter on it. Creatures you control get a +1 for each blessing counter on it. This card is starting to move. It likely will go into all of these aura enchantment type decks. It's spiked very hard from $3 to $4. Commander Masters was a while ago at this point, right? 3+ years. So I think this just is going to make its way into enough of these decks that what I'm seeing on the graph means that this is no longer a $3 to $4 card, and it's going to be a $5+ card. So maybe a little bit breaking bulk of the week, but keep an eye out on Boon of the Spirit Realm. This one popped up in my data.
Yeah. Love that.
I have already talked about my pick of the week this week so far when I was talking about building my commander deck and updating the meta base. Lotus Field, when I was looking it up on MTG Ban, I noticed that it is in the Strixhaven Commander Precon, at least one of them. Also on MTG Ban, you can go, there's a little button, so if like I don't know what product this is in, I can click a button on MTG Ban and find out which commander deck it's in, and then look at the EV of that deck from there. So if I just look at a card while I'm pricing stuff and say, oh, this card is expensive or affordable or what have you, like I want more data on this, I can click on it and then click on another button, and then that'll tell me which precon it's in and whether that precon is worth cracking open for value, which I've done several times in the past with things like Tricky Terrain, things like the Party Time precon that have historically been very good value. So right now, Lotus Field is a $7 card, 7 or 8-ish before the reprint, and it had an Edge of Eternity's Fancy Border reprint. It had a Secret Lair Countdown version that had very low supply. And this is the first time it's getting like a real reprint. And pre-sale is like still like $7 or $8. Once the actual quantity of these decks is out and being cracked, I fully expect Lotus Field to drop to like $2 or $3, just like Timeless Lotus did. I've mentioned that card recently. Yeah. When Lotus Field hits $2 to $3, you should just buy a bunch of them. However many Timeless Lotuses you bought, that's a good number to buy. Lotus Field, historically very good in 60-card formats, and also, like I said, has a lot of use in commander decks too. There's so many land sacrifice synergies nowadays with the Edge of Eternity's precon. This card does very good with that planet station thing.
Yeah, there's some cool art to this one.
There's a lot of other hidden synergies, like I mentioned, with the mono white stuff and having fewer lands in your opponent, or various equalizer effects like that. So Lotus Field, I think, is not a $2 to $3 card. I think it is roughly an $8 to $10 card, and you will see it ride that roller coaster after the precons come out.
Sweet.
Are you concerned with this, DJ? I don't know if this is a good thought or not, but I get concerned at this point, given what happened with filter lands and other such lands, that their goal with commander precons is to start printing all of these lands into the ground. Just all.
Lotus Field is harder to do that with, because Lotus Field is more than just mana fixing. Like it is a
I agree.
Clunkier, weirder card that has like hexproof on it.
I mean, this is now the second
have been
reprint.
hurt by Exotic Orchard before. You're not wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is it Spire Garden? I'll have to look, but there are a few I've hit where the price on it saying like Spire Garden is like a $20 card. It's spiked, but it was in a handful of precons, but has including Ninja Turtles, right? So I see it in Ninja Turtles, and that's a $5 card now. The Spire Garden from Ninja Turtles, and it makes me think that I just shouldn't be touching the $20 Spire Gardens anymore, because it's going to be a $1 card like Filterland soon. I don't know if that's the approach they're actually taking with the precons or not. Like, I don't know if that's a thing I should be concerned about.
Well, if we are getting a reduction in the number of sets, we are also getting a reduction in the number of precons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know if it's enough supply to like truly matter, or if like say Spire Garden, that cycle's an outlier because of how expensive they were before. But anyway, they are not afraid to juice the power level of the precons, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to. I think that they might be envisioning a world where the battle bond lands are all 30 cents, where stomping grounds are $3.
We are back to me speedrunning Reddit downvotes because of my thoughts on that. They should not make Spire Garden 30 cents. That is not good for Magic the Gathering.
I largely agree, but also
I've been talking to people more about why like my favorite things to buy are just Universes Beyond cards, because they're not going to do that to them.
Yet. I was thinking about this. I have this contempt for Through the Omen Path Spider-Man cards because they're not cool. I think you could actually make the Omen Paths cards really cool. Like, what does a Magic interpretation of the One Ring look like? And that's how you reprint the One Ring, right?
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Creating cool in-universe versions of Universes Beyond cards is awesome. And I think that's something they want to do eventually. Like, it'd be really good for them if they could, I don't know, make an Audric that is Cloud or something, right?
Yes. I would love to see a master set that is all Universes Beyond cards reskinned to Magic. We've talked about that before, but it's like
the universes with universes
One Ring,
within
anything from the Brothers Wars Antiquities era. You can turn it into some giga powerful Thran artifact from a millennia ago.
So like they did with the Stranger Things cards, or Walking Dead or whatever, where the Walking Dead cards have a set called
Universes Within. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They say they've done it with a very small number of cards, and there was discourse at the time about how they reserve the right to do this or whatever. But like here in the ground level, you know, like filter lands are 30 cents and random Warhammer rares are $9 because there wasn't much Warhammer. Like it's just an insane world we live in, for someone who's been, you know, for the boomers among us. So that's just sort of the state of Universes Beyond, I guess, and buying cards for picks of the week. But to DJ's point about it being a pick, going back to the original, there's only so many places they can do this, and there are only so many cycles of lands, for instance. Just because it is in one doesn't mean it's going to be in 10 of them moving forward. And in that world, does one precon printing of, say, Spire Garden or Lotus Field or anything like that, does that portend a poor future, or does it just create an opportunity? So yeah,
we'll see.
All right, good stuff. Yeah,
time will tell.
Yeah, somebody do the work and fact check me on this in a year.
Hashtag remind me. Here we go, DJ. I got you. Siri, remind me in 1 year to check the price of Lotus Corp. Also, Lotus Field.
Good save.
It says check the price of Lotus car. So, all right, in a year, I got that reminder.
You gonna buy a Lotus? Nice, good job, Dan Bach.
There is actually somebody at the store who drives one. One of the owners, one of the investors drives a Lotus. All right, well, I think that probably about wraps it up for us this week. Enjoy some Strixhaven, everybody. After that, we will be back next week with more auras to talk about, I'm sure. More aura farming.
Aura maxing.
Aura maxing.